I think they're finally used to it in our place.
Wolverine cosplay. I'm Batman.
Thank you very much. You scared the crap out of me.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Well, this one has been a long time coming. Ever since I posted my Indy Gear series, and I did the episode on the hats and which ones to buy, I've been getting heat over and over and over again for not having Herbert Johnson Hatters on that list. Yes, Herbert Johnson made the hats for the 3 original films and Dial of Destiny, and so they should definitely have their hat in the game, so to speak. But the reason they were not in that video is because I saw a Herbert Johnson hat in person back in 2010. Somebody at Universal Studios had one. I was wearing my penman hat at the time. And the penman hat was superior to that hat that I saw in every single way, including the quality of the felt. And so I didn't see any reason to put Herbert Johnson on that list. If you're going to spend that kind of money, you might as well buy a penman. And now here we are in 2024, and prices are still pretty much the same. You can get a penman now for, I think, $700 if you get it in pure beaver. The Herbert Johnson hat runs about $6 after shipping. So it's still a little bit on the spendy side when it comes to an Indy hat, and there are so many other people out there now that make good Indy hats. When I first found Penman, he was pretty much the only guy out there, and now we have Screencapped and Steel & Jones and Vintage. There are quite a few out there. In fact, I'm thinking about redoing my hat video simply because there have been so many other people that have joined the party at this point, and there are so many good hat makers out there. I mean, that would probably be a long video. I really want to get my hands on it at Vintage, but we'll save that for another video. This one is about Herbert Johnson. So, in 2017, a new hatter started working at Herbert Johnson. I think her name is Michelle. And supposedly the quality went back to where it was at the time of films. And I'd never seen one in person, couldn't buy one, but I recently went on an Indiana Jones Fortune and Glory adventure with like 30 other guys cosplaying as Indy. And every single time I asked somebody about their hats, like, oh, that hat looks kind of cool. Who made it? They said Herbert Johnson. Every single person I asked them about their hat, they said Herbert Johnson. So that made me think, well, maybe I should get a Herbert Johnson. So I found this one, and I got it on eBay for a very cheap price. So I know that I'm going to be able to resell it for what I paid for it. And this hat is going to be resold. And I'll tell you why. But let's get to the good stuff first, because there are a lot of good things about this hat. I have a major love-hate relationship with this hat. If you watched my Temple of Doom cosplay video from a few weeks ago, there's just so many cool things about this hat, and so many things about the hat that I just can't frickin' stand. So, let's start with the paperwork, just so that everybody knows that this is indeed a Herbert Johnson hat. So, here's the paperwork that came with it. And we've got the certificate of authenticity over here. And then it also came with this cute little card. Basically, thanking you for buying a hat from them. Which is a pretty nice touch. And we'll take a peek at the crown on the inside. Oh, the crown, incidentally. I have reshaped this crown. I don't know if it didn't come correctly. This is the Crusader Poet, by the way. The basically the Herbert Johnson offering for the Last Crusade hat. I redid the bash on this crown. It was kind of messed up when I got it. I don't know if it came that way or if it happened in transit or what. I'll post some photos here of what it looked like when I got it, but it just didn't look quite right to me. The crown seemed a little short. Something on it was off. So I changed the bash back here, and I changed the pinch in the front. The pinch reminded me a lot more of a Temple of Doom pinch than the Last Crusade pinch. So I tightened up the pinch here in the front, and I think it looks pretty darn good. But, you know, whoever buys this hat from me can change it, or I can change it before I ship it out. Your choice. But anyway, I think it looks good now. Just something I wanted to add there. And then we've got the inside here with the Herbert Johnson Hatters logo. Now, one thing about this lining, it doesn't seem to be satin. It seems to be some kind of polyester blend, which I thought was kind of weird. Most hats have a satin liner. Pretty sure this ain't satin. I'm not sure what it is, but it doesn't feel like satin. So, just something I wanted to add there. And then we've got Herbert Johnson Hatters right there. And then we've got the IJ on the other side for Indiana Jones. So there is no doubt that this is definitely a Herbert Johnson. And if you have any doubts about it, the felt. Oh my God, the felt. This felt is amazing. It's made out of rabbit fur, not beaver. I generally get beaver just because they are more, you know, durable, and, you know, beaver is supposed to be the best quality out there, yada yada yada. But the hats made in the first 3 films were all made out of rabbit, and this is so pliable and floppy and light. Oh man, it's incredible. You'll be able to see it better when I put it on here later in the video. But oh, the felt. I am in love with this felt, and it freaking kills me that it's just not quite what I want. But like I said, we'll get to that here in a minute. Now, the smoothness, the softness of the felt, you can find that anywhere. This feels very similar to, okay, I've got a, this is my Virginia City, the Virginia City hat maker's hat right here. This one actually probably feels a little bit better. This hat was about $4.70. This is a screen-capped Bogart fedora. This one feels far superior. Over here, this is a screen-capped Last Crusade, also made by Brian. This one also feels far superior. My Clint Eastwood hat here. This one feels far superior. This one is my Penman. So this is the Penman. And this is the 100% beaver offering. Again, better than the Herbert Johnson. And this is my new Portuguese beaver from Hoofwood that I haven't done a review on yet, but this one is, holy crap, this one is amazing. But we'll talk about that in a later video. So anyway, the feel of the felt, very, very average. Like I said, I mean, all my hats here, I mean, we just covered pretty much all of these, and all of them feel better than this one. But the pliability and the softness and how light it is, and it just feels incredible when you're wearing it. Oh my God. I contacted Herbert Johnson directly and asked them about what size I should get, because I'm a 58.5 when it comes to centimeters. And Brian from Screencapped makes all of mine 58.5, and I love them. Thank you, Brian. Anyway, they suggested that I get a 59. And even though this is a 59, it fits me very, very snugly. So if you're going to get a Herbert Johnson, you might want to keep that in mind. Get a half size bigger than what you actually are. So if you're a 57.5, you better get a 58. If you're a 58.5, you better get a 59. And so on. And if you're right at 57, and you get a 57 from them, it might be tight. You might need to put it on a hat stretcher or something like that to get it to fit. So you have been warned. Anyway, the thing that made me sell this hat is the dimensions are off. That's the bottom line. The felt is so cool, even though it's rabbit and not beaver. I love it so much, and it's great for a summer hat. But every time I put this hat on, it seemed like the brim was too wide, and I didn't know if it was just because the crown was too short. It felt off. Something about it felt off, and maybe you'll see that when I put it on here at the end of this video. But something about the hat was wrong. And so I took measurements, and I was right. So, we've got a little tape measure over here. It's going to be kind of hard to do this one-handed, so bear with me. This is Brian's Screencapped hat, which is currently my favorite Last Crusade hat. And if you look there, it's about 2 3/4. Okay. On the side, it goes down to 2 1/2. So the brim is wider in the front and back than it is on the sides. And that is correct for an Indiana Jones hat. If you look at this hat, it's really hard to do. I wish Shan Chan was here, but okay, we'll just go this way. All right, there you go. You can see that it is 2 3/4 on the front right there. And then on the side, it's also 2 3/4. So it does not narrow on the sides. So when you look at yourself in the mirror in this hat, it's going to feel like the brim is too wide. Because guess what? It's too wide. And even if I had a hat jack, I don't have the skill to fix this hat. I would have to take it to the Virginia City hat maker and have him trim 1/4 inch off the sides to make this an accurate Indy hat. And for what you pay for a Herbert Johnson hat, and the fact that they made the hats for the other movies and they can't get that measurement correct, that is absolutely infuriating to me. So, without further ado, let's try on some hats, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, film this in the kitchen so that we've got a nice white background of my cabinets back there, so you'll be able to really see what the hat looks like. So, this is the Herbert Johnson. Again, this is a 59, and I'm a 58 1/2. And it fits me exactly like Brian's hats do. Now you can see right away, I mean, at least I can, hopefully you can too, the sides, they're too wide. They're too flat. This is a Last Crusade hat. It should have the cowboy curl right here. And if you play with the felt quite a bit, you can see that it starts developing that curl. And that's why if you watch like behind the scenes stuff, you can see Harrison Ford fiddling with his hat all the time. Because with this really soft, now watch the front here. You can see how soft and pliable this felt is. It's just amazing. All soft and floppy and everything. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. But, you know, it doesn't look right on my head. You can tell from this photograph. And I've seen other people that have gotten Herbert Johnsons too, and their hats are always flat. The brim just has no character. And that seems to be the case no matter what you do. That's especially infuriating when you've got a Raiders hat, especially the Streets of Cairo one with that very vivid Raiders turn. And you just can't get that out of a Herbert Johnson. All the photos I've seen from the indie community, when they get a Herbert Johnson, they're all excited about it. And every single one, whether it's a Temple of Doom, Raiders, whatever, the brim is always flat looking like this. And once again, I did the pinch on here. I think the pinch actually looks pretty good for an LC model. Hopefully that shows up pretty good on camera. But I like the pinch. And I love the felt. But it doesn't, I mean, look at my head. It just doesn't look correct. And The more I wore this hat and the more I looked in the mirror and the more I looked at video of myself, the more aggravated I got that the hat just didn't look quite right. And this is a $600 hat, incidentally, and it's a $600 hat that's made out of rabbit. Not beaver, but rabbit. Okay, comparison time. Comparison Ford, if you will. Okay, this is my Screencapped Last Crusade hat. Now, full disclosure, I rebashed this hat also. I took this to Disney World and we got caught in a monsoon over there. And this hat took an absolute downpour for hours while we were out there. And when I got back, the crown was just kind of wonky. So I redid it. But I basically redid it the exact same way that I did the Herbert Johnson, with a tight pinch in the front, crease down the middle, and you can see on the sides here, this one has the cowboy curl. When you look at it from the side, it's got that LC cowboy curl. And it looks considerably better on my head. I mean, just look at it. The brim has life. Now, it's not nearly as floppy as that one is, but it's also beaver. And here we are in 2024. This hat will cost you $500. That's $100 less than the Herbert Johnson. And honestly, it's a better hat. This is why Herbert Johnson is not on my list. I love the felt so much, especially now that I've got one and I can hold it in my hand and feel it and wear it. It's just, the pliability is just amazing. I love it. But that's the only thing I love about it. I don't like the price. The look, as far as like the color of the felt, is pretty much identical to this Screencapped. But the Screencapped just has so much more character and life in it. And I've heard people say this before. The people who make the best hats these days are the fans. The fans who go out there, teach themselves how to make hats, and then refine their craft. And I feel that this is just a prime time example of that. I've been getting Screencapped hats since he first started, and I've got several videos on my channel of hats that I've gotten from him, especially my Bogart. Oh my God, I love the Bogart so much. I actually sent that back to him to get a thicker ribbon on it so it looked more like the actual Bogart, and he retreated the felt and everything. And holy hell, that hat is incredible. And this hat is incredible. The Herbert Johnson, the felt is nice, but it doesn't meet the Indiana Jones standard. You are paying for the name. When you get a Herbert Johnson hat, you are paying for a hat that is made by the same company that made the hats for the films. And that's exciting. And that's something to be happy about. I think it's cool. But, and it is a cool looking hat. And most of the hats I saw on that Indiana Jones trip, they were all cool looking hats. Which is why I was asking about them. But they didn't quite look like Indy's hat. None of them did. So I'm sure that this is going to be a very much hated review. People are going to be stomping on this one all over the place. But it is what it is. If you want to get a good Indiana Jones hat and not pay an arm and a leg for it, my recommendations right now are Screencapped and probably a Vintage. I have heard really good things about them. I haven't reviewed a hat yet, but I really want to get one in my hands and see what it's like. But those are the hatters that I would trust right now, honestly. Sorry, Herbert Johnson. It is what it is. That's my opinion, and this video is why I have that opinion. So, thank you all for watching. You can check us out on our Facebook page, and if you like the content here, you can help us out on Patreon under Captain Westicle. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.